All right, so I'm going to cover the front end campaign workflow that we're leveraging for ourselves, for our clients, etc. This is going to be the entire process from, well, I'm explaining all the tech, the sort of ideology behind why we do certain things, the process in sort of an SOP format, and how all this works. And this is going to be the entire process from, the beginning set of the email accounts to the initial reply from the prospect. I'll create a separate video talking about the back end when it comes to, nurturing the replies and turning those into more conversions post the inbox manager replying back to the prospect, because there's a whole other ball game past the initial inbox manager reply. So let's just dive into it. So of course, we are leveraging smartlead.ai. It's the best sending platform. I know it might be having issues right now, but still recommend using it. Is the GOAT. So yeah, adding a bunch of new features. The GPT categorization, super good. You can build some really cool automations with that. We have a whole Airtable CRM that's essentially like an inbox management portal for inbox manager. So he's able to see all the replies, all the positive replies from there. If he ever misses any, he can go back to there, audit it like every hour. And yeah, we just have full statistics. We have full statistics on the reply speed for, how fast it takes from prospect reply to inbox manager reply. We have the exact data on that, and we're able to create an EOD report on those timings and the average of that, and we can sort of give feedback to the inbox manager based on that, which is super, super high leverage. We have data on everything, essentially, from Smartlead. We use its master inbox still. Build a lot of automations around that. So I highly recommend them, even if there's some issues with it right now or something, but they're still good. Then what we're going to do is we're going to set up 200 email accounts. Right now, at the moment, we are using Superwave. So we purchased 2 Superwave domains, and per domain, you can create 100 email accounts. It's 99 email accounts, but it's basically 100. And then from those 200 email accounts, we're able to send 4,000 emails per day. When we're fully ramped up, I believe you can go beyond that, but for deliverability, safety, we're just keeping it at that. And it's about 20 emails per inbox. So yeah, now let's look at the actual campaigns. So as here we have two different types of campaigns. So we have micro campaigns and then we have broad campaigns. You can even call these like macro campaigns, I guess you would say. First, I'll cover the broad campaigns because this is sort of the backbone of our entire strategy. It's the backbone of our lead flow, backbone of our volume, just pumping out numbers, right? This is going to be the backbone. It's the broad campaign. So essentially how this works, it's going to be broader targeting. So no specific niche targeting. We're just scraping whatever scraping tool, whatever database. We're just going for maximum leads that are within the ICP, of course, right? We're not doing any niche segmentation. So yeah, we're going for as many leads as possible. And we're trying to go for heavy volume, right? Like we're trying to have lead lists that are at least, 10K, 20K plus, right? And the sort of script writing with this, there's not going to be any personalization, because the whole goal with this script is going to be really just going for that no-brainer offer. So for example, let's say you have an ad creative offer. We're going to be offering a free ad creative to these e-commerce brands, right? For this broad campaign. That requires no personalization. We just lead with that messaging. That's good enough. You don't need personalization for that because the offer is so good. There is no need for personalization. You can add personalization to the PS, whatever, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't add anything. So really, with this offer, we're with this campaign, we're going for that sort of no-brainer offer, right? Of course, we want to do that for every campaign, but we're doing this without any personalization. There's no specific relevancy to any sort of niche. Maybe we'll filter by technology if that's what's needed. But yeah, really the goal here is we're just maximizing for consistent lead flow, right? Because that's what you're going to get from these broad campaigns is consistency. Because yeah, it's going to be pumping. That campaign is going to be pumping all month. Like the sort of setup we go for our clients when we're sending 50,000 emails per month that's our main sort of plan. 50,000 emails per month. We set one broad campaign per month, and one broad campaign has about 15,000 leads, 3 emails throughout the entire sequence, an intro email plus 2 follow-up, and that sequence lasts about 90 days, or 9 days, not 90. And that's sort of the backbone of just all lead flow. Sort of get good data from that, right? And we're going to find a lot of consistency with that. We're going to get a lot of good testing from that. And yeah, but the broad campaign is like the sort of backbone to our strategy. Maybe I'll call this the macro campaign. That makes more sense because we got macro campaign. That sounds better. But yeah, so the macro campaign, that's gonna be the backbone. That's gonna be the heavy volume, and that's gonna be really pushing that no-brainer offer. So key here, two things: high volume, big lead lists. Actually, three things, and then banger offer. So I recommend spending a lot of time crafting that banger offer. That's within your fulfillment capacity. Okay. Now the micro campaign. So these are going to be these hyper targeted lead lists, right? Because I'm sure you've noticed, like, let's say you're working with e-commerce brands, and you are an e-commerce agency. When you build these smaller lists, like let's say you build a list of like dog brands, like these pet brands, right? It's super small. When you come out with the list, when you have the verified leads, it's like you're having like 300 leads max. If you're going for 100K per month plus, which is what most people are going for, right? Yeah, you're gonna have a really small list. And we were sort of in a crossroads for a while, right? Because you obviously want to go for that sort of you want to be as targeted and relevant as possible, without a doubt, right? You want to like in an ideal world, every single campaign you make is hyper targeted and personalized, right? But at scale, it's not really realistic, right? Unless if you have a team that's willing to bang out like 2 or 3 campaigns per month or per day. If you're trying to push, because like with the volume we're trying to go for, like minimum 50,000 emails per month, with that at that volume, you're not going to be able to, like, if you're creating campaigns that only have 300 leads per campaign and you're trying to send 50,000 emails per month, you're really going to struggle. You're going to need to create about, I mean, you're going to have to create like 50 campaigns for the month if each campaign is one of these small ones, right? So that's why we have this sort of little duo here of the campaigns, because we want to have the combination of volume and the personalization, hyper relevant campaigns, because these campaigns still have value, right? Because let's say with this macro campaign, you're booking one meeting like every 1,000 leads, right? And you're hitting up 1,000 leads, every let's say, like, I don't know, yeah, every day, right? Um, that's good, but with these micro campaigns, you can get it down to, like, let's say like 200 leads, you book a meeting, right? Which there's still a lot of value in that, and you can really do some really cool personalization with these, right? So with the whole sort of strategy with these, right? You want to make sure these lists are hyper targeted. This is where you're going to go heavy on the filters. You want to go use every filter possible to bring it down to that exact ICP you're looking for, that exact niche you are looking for. Obviously, within reason, you can't just have like 40 leads, and that's a waste of time. Unless if it's like a very specific campaign, let's say that's like an interested lead retargeting campaign, people who already shown interest, then there's value in that, which is another type of micro campaign strategy that I'll go for. That's something I'll discuss on the back end of our campaign structure. But for now, we're just talking with the front end. That's something that you can do. But yeah, low volume. It's going to be, if you have 300 leads, then it's 300 emails per day at most, if we're running through the whole campaign. But the goal with this is, let me finish these bullet points first. And then, yeah, this is where we can do some genuine AI personalization that's actually good, right? So for example, again, I'll come back to the ad creative offer. Something that we can do is, for this campaign, we can run these leads through Clay, and we use the Clay agent to come up with a ad creative idea for X brand that it analyzes, right? And essentially what we do with that offer is like, hey, first name, we have this ad creative idea. Here it is. Come with the idea. Interested in us? Like, would you be opposed to us creating this ad creative for you for free? Of course, I mean, the AI won't like they'll have good ideas. Obviously, you don't have to like go all in it. You could do whatever you want, but it's a good way to lead with it, because that's genuine, meaningful personalization, right? It's creative, it's relevant to the offer, it's relevant to the brand as well, and it's backed up by an insane front offer, right? So no brainer. You can book a lot of meetings off that from a small lead list pool. Yeah, hyper relevant script coffee. That could be regarding to the niche. Let's say, yeah, you're targeting specifically the dog brands. You can mention something about dog products, but in that case, you could also just use AI personalization if that's available to you, right? If not, then you can just tailor the copy according to that. Then, yeah, really the goal is to maximize. Like we're really maximizing for lead conversion or lead to meeting booked. That percentage, like how like we're trying to get that percentage as low as possible or as high as possible. Sorry, we're trying to get that lead count to meeting booked ratio, like as low as possible. Is that you get what I'm saying, right? Um, versus with the macro campaigns, we're going for like high volume, maximizing for lead flow, not really caring too much about the hyper optimizations. We're just like we're optimizing everything to the best of our abilities, of course, but we're not going for like the super minute optimizations. It's just not worth the time. But essentially, if we're sending 50,000 emails per month, the sort of campaign matrix we're going to go with in terms of campaign creation volume is going to be one macro campaign per month, and then 4 campaigns per month. So that'd be one new micro campaign launched per week, right? So that's the sort of cadence we're going with in terms of the campaign creation, and we found that to be a very good strategy. It's also extremely systematized because now like everything it makes sense. There's no I don't need to sit there and think like, oh, well, what kind of campaign do we have to create? Blah blah blah. Of course, there might be some clients with unique situations, but for the most part, this is relevant to most niches, right? But that's the strategy we go with for our clients, right? Now, once we decide which campaign we want to go with, of course, we need to decide ICP targeting segment. I mean, if we're going the macro campaign, whatever your overall ICP is, that's what you're going to go with. Micro campaign. If you have a specific niche within the ICP that you want to target, if you have a specific segment, if you have a specific job role that you're going for, then that is where you'll choose this. And then from here, we're going to have this little trifecta of the campaign creation. Of course, you have to create a new campaign smart lead. I just built this like an SOP, but that doesn't really need to be said. Then what I like to do first is honestly build the lead list before I actually write the scripts, because well, it sort of depends. Because if you're going with the macro campaign, then you can create. Then I would start with creating the offer thesis, because that's going to be what's most important. Because with the macro campaign, you already know your macro ICP. You already know the overall ICP. That's not anything to really care about too much. So you can just create your offer and sort of work on your script right off the bat. But the micro campaign, that's where you're going to need I would build the lead list first, because I want to understand the targeting as well as possible. What's possible? What's within the limits of the filters that are available. That's what I want to go with first, is building the lead list for these micro campaigns. So I have a perfect understanding of like what is the targeting, and because when you know the targeting, when you know the exact targeting, when you have a good eyes on the lead list that you're working with, then you can write the scripts around that and write that personalization around it, right? And if you're going to be using Clay for AI personalization, then of course you want to create that AI personalization first and then write the scripts around that. So yeah, if you're building a micro campaign, I recommend building the lead list first. Macro campaign, I recommend creating the offer thesis and really focusing on the offer thesis. And then here I have a little part. This is sales asset. So this is something that we kind of changed recently. For sales assets, I've filmed a lot of videos in the past about them, talked about them a lot, harped on them a lot. And in 2024, at the moment right now, we're not necessarily leveraging the traditional sales assets that we would before, where it was like, the strategy documents or case study documents or Loom videos, things like that. And the reason why is because it honestly doesn't work as well anymore. Because I mean, a lot of people are doing that, right? No one's really pitching a meeting anymore. Like everyone knows that's just a WASP strategy. Like no one does that anymore. So everyone went into the next layers of sophistication, right? Which was creating the sales assets. I think me posting videos and it kind of sort of like pushed this out here a lot. I know all the guys who are doing legit things with cold email, they're all using the sales asset type strategy. It still does work, but I think what works better now is a banger upfront offer. And what I mean by that is something that's along the lines of free work, or essentially what I mean by this is something that the prospect knows requires fulfillment bandwidth or cash out of pocket for you to do for them, and you're doing it for free. That's what you're leading with, right? because that goes beyond the sales asset. Because the thing is, that the sales asset, the document, they know that you can share this in mass. Like that's something that can be done at scale extremely easily, right? There's not really that much leverage behind it, except for the effort they had to put in to create it. But when you have a banger upfront offer like that, that can't be done at mass scale. I mean, unless you have the systems built for that. But they know it's like, let's say you're creating the free ad creative. It's like that's going to take some cash out of pocket. That's going to take fulfillment bandwidth from your team. That there's a lot of value in that, right? And they know that's something that they would have to traditionally pay for. And that's what we want to start leveraging now, especially in these sort of like red ocean niches like e-commerce, things like that. That's something that's absolutely huge, is leveraging these type of offers, right? So, but yeah, I mean, if you're gonna create a sales asset, create it. And the reason why I do this before even writing the scripts is because these things are most important. The offer itself, what you're offering over the cold email, is the most important part of your script writing, because everyone knows the basic fundamentals at this point for cold email script writing. Now, what's the main lever that is going to drive results is going to be the offer. That's the real differentiator at this point. But yeah, I mean, like, if you have a banger offer and you keep your script snappy to the point, no BS, no fluff, as short as possible, the script is going to work. As long as the offer makes sense, as long as they can understand the offer in their brain, it's going to work. So once you have decided, what you're going to leverage, it could be a case study too, like a hyper relevant case study. Say you like specifically have helped, like let's say you're specifically targeting, I don't know, B2B tech. Let's say like, yeah, you're working with like, let's just say like sales directors at B2B tech companies. You're helping them with like some sort of specific demand generation fulfillment. And you helped a person, a company in that exact same situation. Then of course, like just going to case study can be good. But I really recommend going with like sitting down, creating an offer, taking a look at your fulfillment bandwidth and doing something around that, right? So recommend doing that. Then once you have that in place, then you can go with writing the scripts around that angle. Just create like 5 different script angles. Use different structures. You can even test out different offers. Like I say, you create a sales asset, you want to test out a unique offer, and you want to test out the case. That's a good idea. You should do that, and then run a campaign around that. But yeah, and then the list building. I didn't even talk about this. I mean, you already know what to do. You build the list, build your filters, scrape the list, verify the emails, use Million Verifier, format the company names. I posted some video a while ago, or you just look it up. Like look up AI prompts for the formatting the company names properly, and just use GPT for Sheets for that, or you can use Clay. Yeah, pretty simple. And then of course, just add the stuff to the campaign, add the list, add the scripts. Of course, I didn't mention here, but you wanna do spin tags for your cold email scripts, and then yeah, so launch campaigns. Of course, emails are gonna send. Lead reply. Let's say the lead doesn't reply and the campaign's completely finished. What's going to happen is we're going to export that list. We're going to, when that list comes through, there's going to be a section. Let's say you Smart Lead. There's going to be a section that says if the lead had intent, etc. If it replied, whatever. The ones that didn't reply, we'll export those. The ones that did, we'll just delete those. We'll re-verify them because sometimes they might not be valid email addresses anymore because like they leave the company or something like that. If the lead is bad, obviously get rid of it. Lead's good. Import the list, the verified lead to the new campaign. We make sure to remove the duplicates because we're going to create a new list. Let's say it's targeting the same niche. We'll create a new list. Then we're going to import that past verified list of emails that didn't respond, and then we're going to put that back in. We're going to make sure we filter out for the duplicates, and we're going to add it to the campaign. And then again, we're maximizing lead flow. This is typically something that we'll do for the macro campaigns, not as much for the micro campaigns, but yeah, we're maximizing for lead flow. That's what we want to do, right? Okay, so let's say they do reply. Now we're going to judge the intent. Of course, if not interested, we're going to just discard them. I believe there is a rule against you can't contact it as someone that clearly stated is not interested for another 90 days, or it could be legal issues. I mean, that doesn't really matter, but the thing is, there's not really any point in retargeting a lead that said they're not interested. Like odds are it might not change. I mean, it might, but it's like not worth it. But yeah, so let's talk about the intents. So let's say they're out of office. This will be the only subsequence workflow that I discuss in this video. But in a separate video, talk about the backend, I will discuss those. It's obviously the AI. Yeah, so we have the AI set up in Smart Lead for the auto tagging. It will tag it as OO. That's going to be added to the OO subsequence, and from emails being sent, there's going to be a 14-day delay, and then it's just run through the campaign again. It's going to be leading with that. So like, hey, I saw you were out of office the other day. Tried reaching out at the time, but want to retarget you. Obviously, you don't say that. When to come back to you, and then you just kind of reapproach them with the same script you had before, and then yeah, it's pretty simple. So say they have a pricing injection. The AI is going to tag them as like more info, and then we're going to have a objection handle. Well, we'll have a pricing / like cost question script or reply template in place. Sorry, my brain is fried right now. We're gonna have one of those in place, and inbox manager is gonna use it. Obviously, if there's more of a specific request, then the inbox manager will attend to that. Or if it's too specific and the inbox manager doesn't know, then we'll ping the client. More information, obviously, it will tag as more info, and then it's going to be send. We're going to send the content. We'll obviously have a reply template in place. We'll have reply templates in place for all of these, right? And that's how we're able to get the sub 5-minute reply time, because we're going to have that Airtable set up to where it's super easy for the inbox manager to go straight to the lead. He doesn't have to actually open the master inbox inside Smart Lead, because the thing is when he does that, Smart Lead, like I'm sure you open it and you've seen it's super laggy, right? So we want to even cut that buffer out. So that's why we set the Airtable, and within the Airtable, for when the lead is automatically marked, there might be like a 10-second delay on it receiving to Airtable. In the Airtable, there's going to be a link to that exact reply. So all the inbox manager has to do is click on the link, click on the reply template, and then send it over, right? Pretty simple. Of course, if it's more specific, then you can tend to that. If it's too specific, we'll ping the client. Interested, reply template, pretty simple, pitch meeting, etc. And meeting request, that's obviously super simple. And yeah, we have reply templates for this all in place. Airtable set up in place. So we are maximizing that reply time. We're maximizing no leads missed throughout the entire day. And at that point, we will book a meeting with them, or they'll go ghost, which I will discuss what's going to happen after that if they have not booked a meeting. And also when they have booked a meeting in the next video when I cover the back end. But yeah, so what I've discussed in this video so far, I've talked about the Airtable operating system a lot. If you're interested in that at all, if you would be interested in us implementing that for your business, if you run a lead gen agency, we'll set that up for you. Just DM me. I'll give you info on pricing. I'll just be upfront about it. Give you info on setup time. Setup time takes about 2 weeks. And yeah, if you run an agency, if you run a B2B business and you're looking to leverage outbound systems, go to redgrowth.ai or just go to my bio, click on the first link that says like my work or something, and then book a call with me, and we'll discuss further from there. But yeah, that's a full front end system. If you have any questions about this, let me know. But yeah, hope you found this useful. Cheers.